Welcome back. We're here talking to you about 10 things that everyone should know before
they file bankruptcy.
I'm Dwayne.
And I'm JC.
And we're here as a team to remind you that when you file for bankruptcy, that not all your debts can be forgiven. And you need to be sure that the timing of your filing is at a time that you're going to get the greatest benefit of a bankruptcy discharge. When we file the bankruptcy, JC, what is it we really want?
A discharge. We want the debts to go away.
We want a federal judge to issue an order that tells the creditors they can no longer try to collect the debts legally. Right?
That's what we want.
Okay. So bankruptcy is a public policy. It's intended to allow honest debtors to get a fresh start, free from the encumbrance of past financial mistakes.
As announced by the Supreme Court a long, long time ago.
I wanted everybody to think I made those words up.
Sorry.
Okay. So now there's also a second purpose, and that is for an equitable distribution of available resources out to creditors. Share and share alike. Whatever you have that's available to be taken and sold or to be paid to the creditors, they'll get to share equally based on the law.
Right.
But it still all boils down to a social policy. There are social policies that are more important than honest debtors getting a fresh start. For example, first and foremost, children are entitled to child support.
Yeah.
Spouses get spousal maintenance, and there's nothing that bankruptcy will ever do to get rid of those. In a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, you can't discharge division of marital property orders from the court.
And that one sometimes gets tricky because let's say your spouse was awarded attorney's fees as part of the divorce decree. Attorney's fees normally very dischargeable, but if it's in a divorce decree, not so much.
Okay.
In Chapter 7.
And the other tricky thing about dischargeability of marital division of property and liabilities is that in a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, there is a way to address that debt that isn't dischargeable in a Chapter 7.
Correct. Which is why it's important to talk to someone who has experience and understands all of the intricacies to make sure that you do, if you're going to file a bankruptcy, you file one that's actually going to give you the most benefit.
Okay. So what else isn't dischargeable in bankruptcy, JC?
So one of the things that there's a whole list of things. I call it naughtiness.
Oh, being naughty.
Being naughty is not dischargeable. So if you owe money because of fraud, embezzlement, willful or malicious injury to person or property, fines to government for actual pecuniary loss, these types of things are not going to be dischargeable in a bankruptcy.
Okay. Restitutional orders, not dischargeable in bankruptcy.
Good.
Most taxes that are priority, we don't have time to define that now.
Does that mean taxes are naughty?
Yeah, we've kind of shifted.
Okay.
Kind of shifted off of the naughty, not really moved to the nice yet, but that's a whole nother discussion later on in the year. Okay. We can't discharge most taxes. That includes a priority tax, which is beyond the scope of this video here. It's not beyond the scope of what JC could explain to you or what I could explain to you if you came into our office and met with us personally, which really is the purpose of this video.
And again, going back to some of the things we've talked about before in terms of timing, taxes that are not dischargeable today might be dischargeable if we wait a little while.
Okay. Taxes for which you'd never filed the tax returns are a problem. Taxes for which there's a fine or penalty being imposed are not dischargeable. Student loans.
Ugh.
There, I said it. Student loans generally are not dischargeable unless you can prove undue hardship.
And that's hard.
It
It is an undue hardship to try and prove undue hardship.
I've litigated them, and they're gut wrenching and very difficult. And to be quite honest with you, you pretty much ought to expect that your student loan is not going to be discharged in bankruptcy unless we can find some particular reason that proves that society can't possibly expect that you would be able to pay the student loan back.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you think of anything else not dischargeable?
Not dischargeable. So we talked about naughtiness, taxes, domestic support.
Oh, yes.
Fines.
False representation. Okay. That's still being naughty, but it's kind of all when you file a bankruptcy, the premise is that you're going to discharge your debt unless you're dealing with those ones that aren't going to be discharged unless you can prove they're dischargeable, like taxes and child support and student loans or not spousal, division of marital property. But the biggie is the one that comes up more often than not that any of them come up very often, is we can't discharge credit card debts where we misled the credit card company when we filled out our credit application, or if we loaded up on credit shortly before filing for bankruptcy, or if we even used the debt knowing that we weren't going to be able to pay it back.
Good point.
Okay? So
That's why he gets paid the big dollars.
not everything is dischargeable in bankruptcy, but now we've made it sound really bad. The reality is the vast majority of the debts that we list in bankruptcies are discharged.
Medical bills, credit cards, loans, deficiencies on a car that was repossessed. These are the types of debts most people have, and they are dischargeable. But it's important to know not everything is, which is why, again, it's critical to sit down with someone who knows what they're talking about so that they can walk you through the minefield to make sure that you do what's best for you and your family.
Be sure to spay and neuter your pets.
Thanks, Bob Barker.